Hello and welcome to the X-Files Revisited. This is episode 50, a nice little milestone, and this is the season finale of season 2, which is Anasazi.
Yeah, Anasazi, yeah.
Nailed it. Okay, Brian. Is this a big episode?
This is a very big episode, yeah.
Like how big? Like Blue Whale?
Very.
Double-decker
this
plus?
This is huge.
Huge.
So, like, certain things happen in this one that have repercussions.
Right.
Throughout the entire X-Files legacy, really. So, yeah. Been looking forward to getting to this one. I've always really loved this one. When X-Files started getting really big during season 2, like that's people really came into it during season 2, and they released on video these like X-Files feature films, which was basically the 2-part episodes and 3-part episodes strung together as a movie. And I remember this one coming out on video, and it was before season 3 hit. So if you wanted to see the first 2 episodes of season 3 before they aired on television, you bought that video, you got that movie, and you just watched it as one long movie. And I watched that video so many times, like literally so many times. So yeah, this episode, really big one for me. Absolutely love it. Not to blow my wad before we even get into it, but yeah.
Too late. Okay.
Too late.
Okay, so let's just dive right into it then, Brian.
Okay, so we start in New Mexico on a Navajo reservation, and there's an earthquake, and this kid, this teenager, he wakes up, he goes for a ride on his bike, and as he's out, he sees in this quarry the top of a train car, what looks like the top of a train car that had been buried in the earth. Obviously the earthquake has shaken it loose. And then a few moments later, we go to his uncle's house, this guy called Albert Hosteen. And yeah, the guy comes back and says, "I've found something. I think you better come and see." And they go out and they see what can only be described as an alien corpse.
Yeah, see, I don't remember this episode. We're starting to get to the point now where it's getting very vague on some of the X-Files episodes, and he's out in the desert, riding the dirt bike, sees this shiny thing under the dirt, and I'm thinking, spaceship. He's found a spaceship. And even more so when you see the sort of dead alien. Yeah, later on, or what you think's that. And there's something about seeing that dead alien that just it makes the little hairs in the back of your neck stand up. And it also gives you that flashback to Erlenmeyer Flask because that's what we saw in that one as well. And you're already feeling right at the start of this episode that it's just moving very quickly. You know, it's like I'm going for a ride my bike. Boom, he's already at his destination. Sees the thing. Boom, he's back at the cabin with the alien. Titles. You know, it doesn't waste any time at all, and that's something that we're going to see throughout this episode.
Yeah, it's really impressive. They throw everything into this. You know you're watching a season cliffhanger with this one. It's just everything about it just feels on a different level with regards to the way it's written, the way it's paced, and just some of the stuff that they do in it. One of the things they did in it actually, while we're on this introductory scene, that quarry, they did a bit of production on that actually, because obviously they shoot this stuff in Vancouver. There are no quarries that look like the red rocks of New Mexico, so they literally spray painted that whole it's not a quarry basically, not one in New Mexico. So that red feel you get off it, that red look, that's all spray painted rocks. So yeah, pretty nifty way of making a New Mexico quarry, but there you go. So yeah, we come back after the credits, and we see the thinker. We don't know he's the thinker yet. We see this guy at a computer, bit of a nerd. Looks like he's trying to hack something, and looks like he's got in. He starts downloading all these files, and then does a runner basically. And we cut from there while he's doing these downloads. We cut from there to this kind of a consecutive group of people. Like it keeps on. It seems to get passed from pillar to post.
It's the world leaders.
Yes, basically, or people who are behind the world leaders. So it's going through all these suits until eventually it gets to Cancer Man. And he's like, gentlemen, that was the phone call I never wanted to get. So this is the Syndicate. This is the first time we get introduced.
I say that after every PPI call that I get, you know. For some reason I just figured that's what he was saying. Okay, so this group of people at the table is going to be a reoccurring thing. Right, okay, so I didn't know this.
Yes, so...
the Syndicate.
It's
the perfect name for like a bad guy operation, isn't it? It's just perfect. It says everything you need to know.
So as he's got that phone call, basically all these SWAT guys bust down the Thinker's door, but he's already gone. So we go from there to Mulder taking some pills, and then the Three Stooges, as he calls them, the lone gunmen, arrive and start to tell him about this guy called the Thinker. Now, I don't know if you remember, but he has been mentioned in the season already. So they did kind of foreshadow that. And they say that this guy, the Thinker, has hacked the Department of Defense files and is now on the run and will meet with only Mulder. Obviously because of Mulder's reputation with regards to government secrets, UFOs, that kind of thing. This guy knows about him, much in the same way I would imagine that Max Fennig did. He will only speak to Mulder. So just as they get through telling him that, they hear a gunshot. They look twitchy as hell, like maybe it's for them. But as they go down the corridor, they see this woman freaking out in a room, people trying to console her, and she's just shot her husband of 30 years. To which Frohicke's response is, weirdness.
And I, like, when this happens, I'm just like, well, that's a bit of a contrivance. That seems out of the blue. Somebody's just added that in for no reason whatsoever. And then,
for suspense.
Just to have a gunshot, and then the police turn up like really quickly. Like by the time Mulder gets down the hall, the policemen are following him, and I'm just like, how? And I'm just like, and I didn't count this scene. It wasn't until we get near the end of the scene that it actually makes sense. But just now I was like, this is pointless. It makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah. It's like, why, what's going on here? And it's bizarre, because when you think about it, when you look at what's going on throughout the episode, Mulder taking the pills, having the water, the way he is different, the way he's getting, like, hysterical about things, paranoid about things, emotional, particularly with one scene that we'll get a little bit later on. You should... It's right there, it's signposted, but because everything's moving so fast and you're getting so much information all the time, you don't pick up on it. So she shot her husband. I got to say, I loved her performance. They really got that actress worked up into a frenzy.
I don't think I noticed, because it was more kind of like this is just out of place.
Oh, right. Well, if you ever go back and do a rewatch, just watch her, the way she reacts to that. It's so believable. They definitely worked her up some. But so Mulder goes to meet with the Thinker, and this guy basically gives him this DAT tape, which looks quite dated by now. No SD cards or anything like that. It's a DAT tape. And Mulder asks him why are you giving me this? And he responds with basically, I want you to promise me that you'll make these rat bastards pay for what they've done. Basically he trusts in Mulder. So
yeah.
What do you think of this guy, the thinker guy?
Just typical hacker. You don't really get too much information from him at all because, like I said, it's moving along really quickly, so it doesn't give you a chance to really sit back and wait up. But he seems fine. He seems kind of panicky, edgy, the kind of thing you would like. His performance is fine.
I kind of feel like he's got a little bit of a Max Fennig vibe.
Right.
He feels like he fits in with that crowd.
He's got a suit jacket. He's a cut above.
So we go to Mulder's office and Scully comes in, says that Skinner is looking for him. And Mulder is absolutely blistering with excitement. He looks like a kid in a candy store. And he's like... just are you familiar with the commandment, Scully? And it's like, which one are you on about? It's like the one where, God told us about creating the heavens and the earth, but forgot to tell us about his little side projects. He's just so buzzing about the possibility that he's discovered this proof of UFOs and stuff. But when he pulls the file up, it looks like it's all in gibberish. And he loses a bit, kind of smashes something off his desk, kicks a bin, shouts, and you genuinely get that sense that he's been played again. Or he feels like he's been played, as he has been so many times.
Yeah, I mean, you get that kind of... It's such up and down. He's so hyper one minute and then he's so disappointed the next. And you're like, this seems out of sorts for this little guy. And you're like, why is he being so emotional? This isn't like the Mulder we normally know. And Scully doesn't really do anything to alleviate that. The scene just kind of plays out. And again, you're left going, what's going on here? This doesn't feel like the typical character we know. And initially that put me in the back foot.
And also because we saw the thinker downloading those files, we saw his reaction to discovering them. You know that he's not playing Mulder.
No.
We get the sense that he has genuinely uncovered something. But yeah, Scully says that actually it's not gibberish, and she recognises a few of the consonants and things like that in there as being Navajo. Her father worked with the Navajo code talkers during World War II. So this is actually, this is a thing. You can look into it historically. The Navajo Indians were used, and so her dad was a part of all that, so she recognises it. So Mulder leaves her to try and deal with that, try and work out, find out if anyone can decode it, while he goes to meet with Skinner.
Yeah.
And what a meeting this is. Comes completely out of the blue.
Yeah.
We know Mulder's a bit worked up, but yeah, he just basically he's not in a mood to be messed around. He asks Skinner what it is, like, is this just another jerk off assignment? Skinner's like, look, come into my office. Mulder just walks off, just blanks him, and when Skinner grabs his arm, Mulder punches him in the face, full on. Knocking his glasses off. Skinner has to kind of restrain him. Let's face it, if these two guys really went at each other, Mulder would get his ass handed to him. But
well, it depends if Scully was there. Again, it's another thing, and this is a sort of testament to the writing, and I would say, because Mulder acts out of sorts yet again, and at no point do you think this is going to be for some underlying reason. I'm thinking, because I've seen some episodes with some poor writing, that this is just nonsense. There's no, I'm just thinking, like, this isn't the character that I know, I've seen.
Well, also we had that scene from F Immaculata, that last scene, which I think was there for this reason. We said that Skinner was kind of backfooting again.
Yeah.
We had that moment where their relationship was suddenly on slightly dodgy ground. At that point, Mulder felt like he'd been used, felt like he'd been led on a wild goose chase. So I feel like that episode, F. Emasculata, kind of plays into this one a lot. Not necessarily with the mythology story, but with character dynamics. So we left on that episode on not the best ground with these characters. And I think that feeds into this. When you watch this, when you see it happening, you just kind of get the sense that, well, this was a long time coming, wasn't it? So, yeah. Okay, so Scully is called in to a meeting with Skinner and a few other higher-ups, one of them being played by X-Files creator himself, Chris Carter. And, yeah, she's basically asked to explain Mulder's behaviour, and she's almost accused of lying to protect him. So, and it's actually Chris Carter who asks her, weren't you originally signed to the X-Files to debunk Mulder's work? They're coming at her pretty strong.
And it feels again like some real pressure put on Mulder, and other than that scene in F. Emasculata, it feels kind of out of the blue and unnatural. But when you stand back and actually look at the episode, there's factions there making it happen. Obviously, the fact that Mulder's been drugged, and obviously the fact that Cancer Man is there in the background and making things happen, and he's obviously working very close with Skinner on something and watching him and Mulder. You feel that these are the beats that have to be taken. But at the time, without that information, you're sitting here going, this just feels as if we've went way back in all these relationships. But when you get the reveals later on, it does make the story better.
Yeah. It kind of goes from 0 to 60 in about 2 seconds flat, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's just like, Mulder's punching out Skinner, we're finding alien corpses.
Elderly ladies are shooting their husbands.
Oh, yeah, at random. Okay, so Mulder's dad receives a visit from Cancer. He basically obviously implies that these two have a relationship, have worked with each other on a project. They talk about I can't remember actually if they talk about it here, but basically Cancer Man says he's saying to Bill Mulder, he's saying to Bill, look, if Mulder comes, if your son comes, deny everything, okay? Deny everything.
And these are the kind of scenes that I probably find the most exciting, like more than, say, a chase sequence or anything like that, because it has this sort of reveal factor about it. It's got this kind of threat factor behind the conversation as well. You have all these things that Fox's father has been involved with this before, and is keeping things from his son. And before you know it, you're sitting up in the chair, you're leaning forward to the screen, and you're really taking everything in. You're like, oh, this is this whole new kettle of fish now. You know, it's exciting.
Yeah. And it's also very revealing about Mulder's father, because we've not seen much of Mulder's father. You know, we only saw him in the two-parter, Colony and Endgame, and in that he seemed like a very harsh man. He didn't really seem like somebody who had a lot of love in his heart.
That was the thing about. Has he been to see his father yet? No.
Not yet.
Not yet. No. Okay, we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Yeah, that comes later.
Right.
That comes later. But it's just this kind of vulnerability that he's showing in this scene. Like his back's up against the wall. He's not quite as strong as he seemed way back in Colony and Endgame. And there's that little moment as well when, just before Cancer Man leaves, and he puts his hand on Bill's shoulder, and you see him just kind of clench up, like it really stings him.
There's an air of distrust between these two people. Mutual kind of respect, but certainly distrust.
Well, I don't know about respect, to be honest.
Fear?
I just feel... I feel like Cancer Man has power, over Bill because of what he knows, because of their history. So, but yeah, it's a good scene anyway. Played brilliantly by both actors. So Scully goes to see Mulder at his apartment, and she gets into a bit of a thing with him. She wants to know, because obviously, like, she's been called into that meeting with good reason. You know, Mulder punched Skinner. She wants to know why. Why did he punch Skinner? And are these files worth that? Are they worth risking everything to kind of uncover them? Mulder snaps at her, but she just wants to know if they're doing the right thing, and like I say, asks him if he knew why he attacked Skinner. She just says, "Why did you attack Skinner?" And he says, "Honestly, I don't know," which kind of feeds into this just Mulder being all over the place kind of.
Does it not say I must be sick? You just think, cock away.
Yeah.
just often. I've got a note here that I don't really understand why. Like Scully, does Scully do something or say something in this scene about like wondering if she's doing the right thing by helping Mulder?
Yeah.
And even I got the kind of like playing on the ethos of Scully always second guessing herself and always wondering if she's doing the right thing. It's kind of like I felt it was kind of like a faith-based thing, where she's always wondering if she's doing the right thing. She's always second guessing herself.
Like she
feels she's doing the right thing, but she's unsure if she is actually doing it.
I think she's just, again, as usual, she's being very protective here of Mulder. She can see that he's losing it a bit. She's just worried for him and getting a bit overprotective, maybe.
Yeah.
So, but it's a nice moment. I like it. So Scully goes to visit the. I didn't quite get the name of it actually, but basically a Navajo office. So the people who deal with the Navajo Indians, and while she can't get a full translation at the moment until they get an expert involved, the woman that is there, who is a Navajo, does recognise two words. She recognises them because they're both modern words, and they are goods and vaccination. Two very revealing words, but yeah. What do you think when you think goods and vaccination, when you hear those words?
Honestly, it's just I thought it was merchandise.
Well, when she translates, she says goods.
Right.
So,
the vaccination thing, you just think, this is some kind of like biological test of some sort has been going on, or weapon. And merchandise probably refers to aliens. That's what I'm reading into it.
Right, at that point.
At that point, yeah.
Okay, so we get a quick moment in which Mulder is called by his father to come over. Again, very, even just in a small moment, very different. You can tell that Mulder knows there's something up because his dad's talking to him very softly.
Yeah.
Very, he's much more of a gentle soul with him than we've seen him previously.
And you do feel as if there's a real weight that something could happen to his father.
Yeah.
You know, he's not a safe character, or that's what I put down here. You know, there's something strange.
Yeah, because I mean, like I say, we've only seen him in 2 episodes, and Scully's dad got killed in the episode that we first saw him in.
Yeah.
Within the opening scene. So yeah, no one's safe really in this show. But so while Mulder's gone, Scully does some snooping in Mulder's apartment, and as she's snooping, basically she hears a gunshot. Boom! The kind of glass breaks, and she ducks down to the ground. She's kind of got a bit of a graze on the head, so it looks like somebody was trying to shoot Mulder.
Yeah.
We go to Mulder's dad's, and Mulder gets there, and his dad hugs him.
Yeah.
And, it kind of gives you the... Because, seeing the two of them when they were last together, this is not a guy who hugs his son.
Yeah.
So this, something is... like you say, just weighing this guy down right now.
And again, the pace is ridiculous. I mean, it's literally we just keep going. It's like literally 30 seconds here, 10 seconds there, boom, 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 boom. We don't have time to breathe.
But it's big things as well that are happening in them, like Skinner getting punched. Scully being chewed out in a meeting, a big emotional moment with Mulder and his father, which you don't expect because of Mulder's father being the way we've seen him. A meeting between Cancer Man and Mulder's father, which is like, oh my goodness, these two know each other, and then Scully almost getting shot, and it's just like all these big things that are just like, boom, 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 boom. So yeah, I love it, absolutely love it. But Mulder's dad tries to tell him the truth, and Mulder doesn't quite understand when his father says, he starts talking about the choices that needed to be made, the merchandise. He goes to the bathroom to take some pills, and someone is waiting in the shower. Our good friend, Kreitzer.
Yeah. And I was actually just thinking throughout this episode, it's been a while since we've seen him. And there he is. Yeah. And yes, it's like, oh yeah, he's back. Oh wait, he's back. Oh.
Yeah.
When you're like,
big moment. So
yeah,
boom, Mulder's father is shot. We don't actually see Krycek do the deed, but pretty evident that he did. So Mulder rings Scully, and Scully has to all but bitch slap some sense into him because he's just off on cloud nine, kind of just like proper zoned out. Obviously, his father's dead. He's covered in his blood, and he's just kind of he's just blah. He's just off somewhere, and Scully's literally just shouts down the phone, "You're an FBI agent. You've got access to weapons other than your own. So wake up and just do something." That's good to see. It's good to see Scully kind of be a bit harder on him when he needs it, when he needs her to be. So he goes to her to her apartment. She tells him, "Come to mine because someone tried to shoot at you last night."
Yeah.
So she puts him to bed, takes his clothes off at some point, and
yeah.
So
that's it. Yeah. We'll just bypass that.
We'll bypass that. So Mulder wakes up in the morning and he just kind of starts ambling round, goes to get his clothes,
checks his gun, and
notices that his gun's not inside the holster on his jeans. He is not happy. He phones Scully, who is at a testing site, so basically a forensic testing site where they, if they've got your gun and the same bullets, they can shoot from it and match whether it came from that gun and all that lot. So Mulder rings her, has a bit of a convo, kind of flies off the handle, and she's trying to talk him down, saying, "Look, I took your gun to clear you, Mulder, and I didn't wake you about it because you were in a state. I wanted to leave you sleeping." She's doing this to protect him, basically. So.
Yeah, and you can see her side of it. I'd say more than anything, she is more than usual. She's the voice of reason, and you feel that Mulder is not himself. He's not doing the things he's supposed to do. Yeah, so you kind of understand Scully, and you realise that, I mean, instantly, she's not testing the gun because she thinks he shot his father. She is testing it to clear him.
Yeah. It's basically the only piece of evidence they've got to clear him at the moment, because everything else is pointing towards him.
Yeah.
So without that ballistics, without those ballistics tests, he's up the creek without a paddle. So, Scully goes to Mulder's apartment and pulls the slug from the wall from whoever it was who shot at her. And she sees someone taking a gas tank away, and goes to check down in the basement where these gas tanks are, and she sees that there is a new tank hooked up to the water supply. So someone has been putting tanks up to the water supply, which basically right away, 2 and 2 together, So yeah, okay. So Mulder comes home, gets out of the taxi, and he sees someone kind of in the background just running about. So he pulls his gun, kind of runs around the other side of the building to catch them coming. And it's Krychek, and the two of them have a nice little fisticuffs. Basically, Mulder just gives Krychek a good kicking. Punches him like 3 times, full on in the face. It's a really good fight scene, and it's also those 2 actors doing it. You can see it.
Yeah. But you feel as if Mulder only wins this because he's fueled by drugs. I've no confidence.
It's so true. It is.
Absolutely zero confidence in his physical prowess. You just know.
Yes, he's literally. I mean, he didn't really own Skinner, to be honest. He punched Skinner out of the blue. He sucker punched him. Skinner didn't see it coming, but he still restrained him. You know, like you say, he gets.
I mean, even in that fight with Skinner, I thought there was a threat that Skinner was going to put him across his knee. You know.
If it was Scully and Skinner, then Scully might have a fighting chance.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a good fight scene. Anyway, I like the vicious nature of it, the eye gouging and the quick repetition of punches from Mulder. It's good. It's short but pretty brutal. Mulder has his gun on Krychek, and he's like, did you kill my father? Did you kill him? And Krychek's just bricking it. You can literally see him shaking. He's going to lay an egg at any moment. And Scully kind of rolls up and says, Mulder, don't shoot him. If you shoot him with his gun, then you've got nothing to prove that you didn't shoot your father, if that's the gun that killed your father.
And here we go. You're instantly thinking, oh, God, not another one of these scenes. She's going to talk him out of it. He's going to put the gun down and everything's going to be fine.
She shoots him.
She shoots him.
Boom. Basically, she watched Speed, and she saw that scene with Dennis Hopper and Keanu Reeves and Jeff, what's his face at the beginning, and what do you do? What do you do? I shoot the hostage. And that's what she did. She shoots Mulder. Krychek does a runner, but Scully basically, I can't say took one for the team. She forced Mulder to take one.
She gave one for the team.
She gave one for the team.
Yeah, and unlike most other X-Files episodes, this warning shot doesn't actually kill him.
Okay, so Mulder wakes up at a house in the Navajo reservation that we saw at the beginning in Albert Hostein's town. Albert Hostein is there. He's looking over some documents. Scully tells Mulder that Hostein was a Navajo code talker in the Second World War, and that he knew Mulder was coming due to an omen. She also lets him know about the water pipe in his apartment, and that her name appears in the latest entries of the files. Yeah, along with Dwayne Barry's. So,
and it's
the plot thickens.
Yeah, it's conspiracy after conspiracy, and it's all those kind of things that just make you take a little bit more, pay a little bit more attention than you have been, listening a little bit closer, and just go, "Ooh, this is interesting stuff," and it is. But
you're constantly trying to connect the dots. You're constantly trying to think, well, how does everything relate to each other? Because we've got Mulder's dad being involved with merchandise and vaccinations. We've got the fact that he was in league with Cancer Man at some point. We got these bodies turning up that are alien related and must be somehow related to these abductions with Scully and Dwayne Barrett. It's just, it's all just, like I say, the plot thickens. And Mulder thanks Scully as well, which is a really nice moment. It's very quick, don't make too much of it, but it's just that recognition, I think, of what she's done for him in this episode, the way she's gone to bat for him, and just really, go all out to protect him.
It's just like Short Round with Indy. He doesn't want to burn them, but he has to.
So Mulder drives with Albert, who tells him about the Anasazi tribe that disappeared without a trace. So this is apparently a famous tribe of Indians, Navajo Indians that were called the Anasazi, who apparently, they just disappeared. No one saw or heard from them again. And Mulder's like, well, what did you think happened? And he just looks at him and says, nothing disappears without a trace. You kind of get the sense that this guy, he knows that UFOs exist. He knows that aliens exist. He says it, doesn't he? At one point, he implies they were abducted by saying that from visitors who come here still. At some point, he says that is a line.
Okay, I can't remember.
So, I can't remember if it was in this conversation, or a little bit, or one of the ones at the beginning. But I'm reasonably certain it was this conversation. So Eric, the guy who found the alien body, what we presume to be an alien body, he takes Mulder to the quarry where he found it. And Cancerman calls Mulder at this point, so Mulder's just about to go into the train car, gets a phone call from Darth Vader, basically. Tells him his father authorised the project, which is Mulder's father, basically. He's saying, look, your father authorised the project, which is what he couldn't live with. And that's what Mulder risks exposing. So basically he's trying to put Mulder off looking any further because you expose what's going on and you expose your father. Mulder basically throws a line back out and calls him a son of a bitch and hangs up, and Cancerman has basically traced the call. He makes a reference, he says to one of his men about it, or one of his men says, "We traced the call, sir," or something like that. So he gets out of the car, hops in a chopper, off they go. Mulder goes into the train car, and he finds...
just quickly before you stop it.
Go on.
Mulder gives him one hell of a put down.
Go on.
Calls him a black lung son of a bitch.
Oh yes, a black lung son of a bitch.
And you just think it's kind of vicious, but it's perfect.
It is, I love it. I love the... Oh, yeah, it is, it's great. The name he's given him, Cancer Man. The insults he gives to him, black ones, cracking. Good stuff there from Mulder. Okay, so he goes into the train car and he sees the bodies. Again, they look like... more aliens. What are these aliens being doing stuffed in a train car?
Kind of mummified.
But then as you see the bodies and the way they're stacked up, the fact that it is in a train car. I don't know about you, but I get I get visions of Nazi Germany. I get visions of Jews stacked up in, in huge burners and things like that, concentration camp stuff. And as Mulder goes in and investigates a bit closer, he sees that these bodies have smallpox vaccination scars, which right off the bat should tell you these are not aliens. These are human beings. These are presumably the goods or the merchandise. And yeah, suddenly everything just becomes very, very wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you got that
Yeah.
when you watched it, just that sense of, like, we know what the Nazis did during World War II. We know they were involved with a lot of experimentation on Jews and things like that before. Yeah, but yeah, just seeing this image,
Mm-hmm.
it's quite horrific. Possibly one of the most horrific images when you really start to think about it that we've seen in the show. But yeah, anyway, Cancerman shows up in the chopper.
Mm-hmm.
And Mulder was on the phone to Scully at this point, telling him what he'd saw, what he'd seen. Cancerman comes down, takes Eric by the arm, kind of leads him off, blows the train car up. Basically, gets one of his men to chuck a bomb in there, blows it up. To be continued. And I already know what you wrote in your notes for this.
Yes, and I wouldn't say that's a bit of profanity, but I was I wasn't expecting it to be a two-parter.
Right.
I did not know that going into it. So this ending just kind of left me hanging. And I have no idea where it's going.
Yeah. Imagine how it left me hanging way back when it came out, when we didn't have videos, when we didn't have DVDs. And I literally had to wait a flipping year, before seeing the conclusion of this. Except I didn't, because as I said at the start, I watched it on video as a feature-length film. But yeah, that's.
We have it. Yep. I mean, I'll quickly wrap this one up if you want.
Go on. Yeah.
Because we've not had a great deal of discussion about this, and that's understandable because the amount of information that this thing throws at you is unbelievable. The pace is blistering. You get things that seem out of place, odd, and unlike the characters, but they are there for a specific reason. They do make sense once the reasons are given to you. And I'm sure you're going to wax lyrical about it, but for me, 5 out of 5.
Yeah, just everything you said. I love the character revelations. Just learning a little bit about Mulder's father. The fact that he gets killed. They have a habit in these season finales of killing major characters. We got Deep Throat in the last one, Mulder's father in this one. Just seeing the connections between Cancerman and his father, and a couple of fight scenes, which are pretty full on.
Mm-hmm.
They're between major characters, so they're not. It's like Mulder and Skinner.
Yeah.
As if that wasn't enough, Krychek comes back. We get Mulder versus Krychek. It's like, blimey, it's all kicking off. That's literally how it feels. You're sat there thinking, it's all kicking off. What on earth? It's like, who's next? And Mulder and Scully are going to have a dust up. And it's just, it is. It's just breakneck pace. There's a few moments as you're going throughout where you're like, why is that there? What's that all about? But like I say, once certain things are revealed, it's explained. It becomes clear. The woman who shoots her husband in the apartment, and what a cliffhanger! Yeah, he's in that boxcar. Where did he go? Because we know he's not dead.
Yeah.
Let's face it. How did he get out of it? What's going on? It's just, and Cancerman as well. I feel like Cancerman has kind of been elevated a bit in this episode with regards to his villainy.
Mm-hmm.
We see a lot of him in offices, smoking, kind of dishing out orders. We've seen him in his apartment, his very sparse apartment. We see that he's a very sad, kind of lonely existence. But here he's someone, we see he's willing to go out there. He's willing to get his hands dirty. He's willing to do things himself, meet with people, go out, take a team with him, and drop bombs in train cars. He's not against getting in there and rolling his sleeves up as far as his villainy goes. And I've said before, Krychek is one of my favourite characters in this. He's my favourite villain, probably more so than Cancerman. Here, he's kind of really started to cement that. He starts to come into his own in this three-parter. Because yes, this isn't a two-parter; it's a three-parter.
Right.
He gets a few more moments throughout this. But yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. 5 out of 5. Cracking stuff.
Excellent. So our next episode is going to be the season 2 wrap-up, where we discuss our bottom 5 episodes, our top 5 episodes, and that'll be an extra fun episode. It was fun in season 1, and I'm sure this one will be just as informative, just as entertaining. So we'll see you there on the next episode of The X-Files Revisited.